The subject is Maya and Moksha. While speaking of Maya, Lord Krishna stresses the role of Maya as being subordinate to him, of Maya being subservient to Ishwar. Only those who surrender themselves to his protection and guidance can overcome its bounds. Just as northbound travelers have to keep the pole star before their eyes, the passenger on the path of liberation from Maya will have to keep the Lord as his or her goal. No other physical or mental compass is potent enough to guide one's progress on this path, the path of Dharma. That is why it is said that there is only one Dharma, the way towards the Absolute. Maya and the creation. What is Maya? When Parampurush, cognitive principle, desires to create something, the Shakti, force, required is known as Maya. As such, one of the important characteristics of Maya is its plasticity. It is equally clear that since Maya is the force behind creation, if the cognitive principle had not desired to create anything, Maya would have had no manifestation. What is it that made him create and thus make the manifestation of Maya possible? The traditionally upheld cause and effect theory cannot answer this question. For the theory works and holds good only in the expressed world, that is the universe after it has been created. Thus, once the seed and the tree are there at a part of the expressed world, the cause and effect theory recognizes the seed and the cause and the tree as the effect. But why was the seed or tree originally created is a problem beyond its scope. Thus the cause and effect theory does not go beyond the expressed world. Now action which is beyond cause and effect is Leela. To differentiate further, action which is governed by the cause and effect theory is known as Krida. All his creation is Leela. Hence the manifestation of Maya in the expressed world too is his Leela. Maya and Jivas. Maya influences the Jiva in a number of ways. In his creation of the world, it is not the Chitti Shakti that works. Instead, when ordered by him, Maya is the force which works. Here it is known as Vishnu Maya. When human beings experience his attraction from Antahakaran, the feeling that something is to be done is generated in them. This is also done by Maya, and here it is known as Yog Maya. Apart from these forms, Maya works in the Jiva in two other forms, as Vishwamaya and Anumaya. The fundamental stuff or matter used in his creation is himself. In this process of creation, the cognitive principle crudifies himself into this expressed world with the use of Vishnu Maya. But the essential element, the fundamental stuff is he. However, the Jiva does not have the capacity to see him in this creation. A person sees a pot as a pot, a forest as a forest, and so on. This is the work of Vishnu Maya. The sum of manifested Maya in the universe is known as Mahamaya. Now it is observed that individuals can create the same things in their minds which are expressed outside and are seen in this expressed world. They can create a whole world in their minds according to their fancy and can enjoy pain or pleasure from it. Such vicarious living is found especially in persons of advanced age. This is the work of Anumaya. It must ever be overlooked, however, that despite its various forms, it is his Maya, and that he is the Mayadhis. Therefore, if the individual starts a fight against Maya, he or she cannot succeed. This is empty confirmed by the act that you cannot effectively indulge in the suppression or repression of a certain bhav for long. Ultimately, it overpowers you. Because the more you try to suppress it, the greater becomes the force with which it rebounds. If crude ideas come into your mind, you are not crude or bad. It is natural for them to come. But mental or psychic suppression or repression of these is not profitable for sadhakas. Instead, the correct and psychological approach to Maya is to channelize it in the direction of the Absolute. For in this expressed world, you cannot overpower Maya because she has a much greater power. The central problem of reconciling the earthly duties of human beings, which their progress towards the Absolute thus crops up. The answer lies in the fact that this world is a relative truth. Human beings should not become slaves to it, but should also use it properly. However, as mind is engaged in it while using it, one may tend to crudify both in the mind and hence in the body. This would hamper movements towards the Absolute, which is the subtlest entity. The way out is to bring in the ideation of the Absolute. In other words, you should realize that while living in the expressed crude world, you do not work for the worldly things, but for Him and with Him, because He is the essential element, the fundamental stuff out of which this world has been created. Maya and Absolute. On the other hand, those who run away from the material world to escape Maya only deceive themselves. For with the help of Maya, they will be led to Him, as Maya has a close relation with the Absolute. What is this relation? Maya has three gunas, operative principles through which it works, that is a Sattvagun, sentient principle, Rajogun, motivative principle, and Tamogun, static principle. They work and lie in an ascending order on the road to the Absolute. The sentient principle Sattvagun has the capacity to take the sadhak very near him, that is a Nirakar Brahma, by making the mind more and more subtle. But there still lies a gap between the point and Nirakar Brahma. This gap is known as Bhav or Bhav Sagar. This gap can only be negotiated with the help of devotion. Thus we see that Maya, channelized properly in its sentient operative principle, can take the sadhaka to a point very near Ishwar, from which point of domain of devotion begins. An interesting illustration is afforded by the following story. Three thieves, Mr. Sattaguna, Mr. Rajaguna, and Mr. Tamagun, once waylaid a man with some money in a dark forest. Though all agreed to pocket the money, Mr. Tamoguna also desired to murder the man. The other two, however, would not agree to this. Mr. Rajogun declared that the man be left alone to fend for himself in a dark. Mr. Sattuguna was more charitable. He led the unfortunate man all the way to the outskirts of the city, but after a point on the road the bade farewell and would not go into the lighted street for fear of being caught by the police. Therefore, we arrive at the paradox of mukti, that is, a freedom from the bondage of Maya, can be achieved not by a fight against Maya, but rather through its help. Different kinds of sadhakas inhabit this world. Some ardently desire mukti, while others do not. The latter base their choice on the reasoning that by becoming one with Ishwar, the sadhak loses the pleasure of being next to him and harboring him as one's soul, bhav in work, service and sacrifice. Little do they know that this very ideation of the cosmic world leads them to mukti, for their minds have him as their object. The best and highest sadhak and bhakta, however, surrenders the decision on this question to Ishwar. The ideation that he or she embraces is, I am at your disposal. It is up to you to plan what you like for me. Theirs is the wisdom to foresee that complete surrender alone, which is the essence of the highest bhakti, will enable them to sail the bhav sagar unto his feet.